Welcome to the Coast to Coast podcast, brought to you by Play Picks and the Lines, coming to you from the West Coast. Josh Lander, joined by my guy Nate Weitzer on the East Coast. And we're looking at a pretty interesting slate here tonight, Nate. In this one, we're going to be looking at the Phoenix Suns headed to LA to take on the Anthony Davis-less Lakers. As we know, he is now out for about a month or so. Make sure you are liked and subscribed to that page, though. We've got a couple other videos up for you today, including that player props video we love to bring you each and every weekday. And as always, if you do still need a FanDuel or DraftKings account, head to fdpicks.com or dkpicks.com and find those listings in your area, such as what we've got for tonight, Nate. Let's get into it.
Yeah, the Suns are 7-point favorites at the Lakers right now with Devin Booker recently returned. Phoenix is one of the teams not hit too hard so far by protocols. They really don't have anybody in protocol. In fact, just Frank Kaminsky out at the moment. Whereas the Lakers just lost Anthony Davis for a month to a knee sprain, and then they have several guys in protocol, Malik Monk, Kent Bazemore, Avery Bradley, Dwight Howard, Talen Horton-Tucker, Austin Reeves, and that is it for now. Leaving LeBron, Russ, Melo to try to carry this team at home against the defending Western Conference champs. We will get into that take in a minute. Looking at the other four games on the slate tonight, you got the Pacers -2 at Heat. Indiana has not played since Thursday, so big rest advantage there. Pistons are +7 at the Knicks. Pistons coming off a rare win there on Sunday. And the Blazers +2 at Pelicans, trying to build some momentum there. The other game we break down is the Wolves -1 at Mavericks. And we like Minnesota there. The total moving up to 214.5, but spread sticking the same at Wolves -1. Look, in this game, the spread is very, very tenuous to me. I mean, despite all those guys being out for the Lakers, LeBron James, Russell Westbrook, and a high-profile game, I do kind of trust them to keep this within single digits. My starting point would be to look at how much you think the Suns are going to win by, or maybe the Lakers are going to pull out a close game. It would be to look at the winning margin being 1 to 10 points and seeing what kind of odds you can get there at your preferred book. The Lakers have not been underdogs too often, obviously, 10 times this season, and they've covered in 6 of those games. And they're 8-6 against the spread after a loss. It's, kind of the Anthony Davis quote echoing in their ears, we got to play like we're the underdogs. And they, with 7 Hall of Famers on the team, it's tough to do that, but I think they're going to start to believe it now. I mean, especially with like 8 guys out and, the Suns coming in at basically full strength, say we're the underdog here at home. And so that's why I just look for some pretty crazy production from LeBron tonight. We're going to talk about him in the player props video, but without AD, he's averaging 33.3 points, 8.8 rebounds, 7 assists per game. His usage rate climbs to 33% in his last 4 games. So you got to expect the ball to be in his hands and Russ' hands a lot. And to, take on a Suns team that has scuffled a bit offensively, but that's going to change with Devin Booker back. That's why you see a total of 223 and climbing here. But I think their defense is not going to necessarily be lights out. I don't think there is necessarily a defense that can handle LeBron, who has had some big games against the Suns. Game 3 of the season this year, he didn't do that much, but that was Lakers still feeling things out. His previous regular season meeting, 38 points on 16 for 24 field goal shooting. Mikal Bridges, great wing defender, not necessarily big enough to deal with LeBron. And Jay Crowder, LeBron has his number at this point, seen enough of Jay to get his points. So really, for me, I'm looking at a close game, and I'm looking at LeBron to score around 30 points.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about a close game tonight. Once you hear about all those guys sitting, I feel a little bit more comfortable taking those Suns, to be honest, even with that spread. That said, there are some things that lead you to believe the Lakers are better without Anthony Davis this season. At least they're net rating gets better as their offensive rating goes up, their defensive rating goes down. So it's a little bit odd to see that. I'm sorry, their offensive rating stays high with him at about 110. It's their defensive rating that goes down to 105 versus when he plays it's 108. So they get better by 3 points per 100 on defense when AD sits. That's everybody's going over right now. All the money is going over as this started at about the total there 219.5 up to about 223.5 in a bunch of places. So 4 points already moved on that total to the over. That makes me want to take the under a bit. I honestly, I'm feeling like, it's one of those things where my logic is going, all right, well, with all these numbers, with Devin Booker being in, this team, the Suns play a bunch, 4 points per 100 possessions faster in their pace. Their offensive rating jumps 5 points per 100 to 113 offensive rating, and their defensive rating, it doesn't really move much in terms of when Booker plays versus he doesn't. They're pretty much the same team defensively as they were in their last 5 or 6 that he missed. They still stayed at the top of the league in terms of third best defensive rating without Book, and they were already there with him. So that doesn't move much for them. But I think once this gets up to about 223.5, now I start to feel a little bit more like this is a game where the Suns are going to be able to get buckets. I don't think the Lakers are going to be able to get buckets, which starts to make me feel pretty good about that, about that win there. I think the money line for Phoenix, if it was a little bit better before those points moved, I think that's where I feel really comfortable if I can maybe parlay that since it's so low. It's at about, minus 305 for them. But the Suns have won straight up in 22 of their last 23 games that they've been favorites. And against the Lakers, they've won the last 4. Chris Paul is a guy that I might consider tonight to really have the ball in his hands and be distributing, especially with Booker back. He's had 12 assists in his last 2 matchups against the Lake Show. Talking about the stars coming out tonight for both sides, I do like what you're saying with LeBron for sure. If you want to take all of his props tonight, feel free. But I don't know who else is going to be putting the ball in the basket for them. I think the other guy you consider is Carmelo Anthony as well, especially because his splits at home are just so much. It's crazy how much better at home he is than on the road. He shoots 20 percentage points better from 3 at home than he does on the road. Just a simple starting point for how much better he is there, which does tell you about more offense as well. Look, I think at the end of the day, I'm staying away from this total because there's just a number of ways that this can play out. You talk about how do the Suns, how does this game get over 223? The Suns drop 118 points, right? That's easily something we could see. How does this game go under? The Suns don't, because I don't think the Lakers are going to be putting up those points tonight, right? I mean, they're within their last 5 games, their defensive rating has actually gone up. It's become better. The Lake Show in terms of their 4th overall in the NBA in the last 5 in defensive rating. It's that offensive rating that's down to about 5th worst in the league in those last 5 games as well. And all of those guys being out tonight, there's just not enough firepower. So I think you would consider the Lakers team total under there tonight. That's something that I would because that's the only total number that I would be looking at. But if you would like to parlay or take that money line for the Suns because you don't like the spread, there are a couple of games tonight. We both feel really good about the Timberwolves covering 1 point against the Mavericks without a bunch of players on the Mavs out tonight. So you might consider parlaying those 2 money lines together and getting back to I think it's about plus 120 on FanDuel on your money to parlay this game with the T-Wolves, just because I feel like the Suns are winning this game. It's just a matter of I'm not scared of the spread, but if you are, that seems like another simple play to me.
Yeah, I would caution against the Lakers under because I think you forgot about IT2 back in the league. Nice 32 points in 2 appearances with the Lakers. He's a bucket getter. Yeah, I mean, I think you can always get buckets if you run things through him, especially with the second unit. So I mean, really for me, it's about the Lakers stepping up when doubted. And I think that's why you see the numbers, the defensive intensity, the rating drop when Anthony Davis is out. And I think they've covered in 6 of their last 7 without AD because it's more of a feeling that, now nobody expects us to win. Now the pressure is off and we can perform. And I think that's a scenario we're going to see tonight. I would be very concerned about the Suns covering this number on the road. Just a team that's very much going to take care of business at home, but this is a playoff rematch, something that LeBron, tried to keep them afloat without AD last year. his supporting cast was so different in that situation. And now I think that they're a little bit more equipped to play small with the Suns right now, that they can. I mean, IT2 being the small guy to definitely throw out there, but that even with all those guards out, the Lakers will find a way to play a 5 out, to maybe play some LeBron at center, give DeAndre Ayton some trouble there, and to really just play their hearts out here to cover this spread, and I think keep it within single digits one way or the other.
We'll see. I think we're on different sides of the coin on this one for sure. I'm going to continue to say I wouldn't bet on the Lakers with your money. But, either way, you don't have to love the Suns just because you're betting against the Lakers tonight. I think some player props are in order for sure tonight. A couple of the stars that'll be playing, we can definitely see some value there. But that is all the time we have for today. Y'all make sure to like and subscribe to that page so you can check out the other couple videos we have for you, including that player props video. Until we see you next, happy betting.